Welcome, everyone, to Enlightened Masculinity. This is the greatest podcast on earth, as far as I'm aware of all. And I've seen a lot of podcasts. This is the greatest one that's going right now, except maybe Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan's is pretty informative. It's hard to, but as far as what it's really going to do for you, I think this is better because this actually introduces you to IMC Nation. Joe Rogan's going to just introduce you to a bunch of, red pill concepts and make you think, and that's great. But here we have IMC Powerhouse Cervantes. He's one of the highest ranking officers in IMC Nation, owner of multiple businesses, has his, fingers in his hands in a lot of pots with IMC, with the, what do you call it? Paradise Vixens videography and the illuminated clothing line and royalty modeling. He's an executive for Los Angeles chapter. And of course, he had a big business by my standards. He had a big business when he came to IMC Nation and doing something else. And now he's integrated also into IMC. A lot of things. I probably even missed a few things. Sponsored music videos and parties and sponsored a lot of people for training. And so a lot of people work with him, look up to him, and he's come into IMC Nation. I think he's around my age, a couple years younger. Not that it really matters, but I think like 34 maybe. Right? How old are you? How old is your body, your clay body?
This organism we call the human body specimen is 36 in June 10th.
Yeah. Okay, we're about the same age then, 9 months apart or so. So this is my brother from Los Angeles, IMC Base 3, Powerhouse. Welcome to the show, man. You have a show also on IMC TV. It does very well. Business Report with your brother, who we had on the on Enlightened Masculinity last week, and Chris Lopez, three of the high successful business guys in the Los Angeles area for IMC Nation. So that's a great show. I know a lot of people tune into that. So what's going on with you, man, on this Wednesday, end of the business day, 5 p.m. Pacific?
Really, really embracing the fact that I can consider myself and are a part of IMC Nation. That is the biggest privilege that I want to say that I have here, to be amongst men that are respectable men. I was having a conversation about this and what makes a respectable man. What would make a respectable man respectable? What qualities must he have? What attributes, right? And so that is something huge that I was never given any light upon. I didn't have a mentor, didn't have a masculine presence in my life to give me words of wisdom or experiences, to share experiences with me of, what could guide me into what could have guided me back then into a better situation, placed me in a better position to have created more than I already have today. Even with the lack of, I was still able to create what I created, however I created it. Some of it was bad, some of it was good. And that's what I'm, quote unquote, questioning. Not that I'm questioning my success, but I'm questioning how I went about the so-called success, which...
What do you question about it?
The integrity behind it, per se. Was I beta or was I alpha about attaining my success, the way that I went about it? So why do I say integrity? Was I holding my word as a man? Not that I was deceiving anyone, not that I was playing anyone, but deceiving ultimately myself, right?
In what way? You say you're questioning if you were deceiving yourself way back when, before IMC?
Before IMC, yeah.
Why are you questioning
standard as a respectable man?
You're questioning if you were a respectable man before IMC.
Exactly.
What have you come up with?
Man, it's just, there was a lot of wishy-washiness. There was a lot of, I'm bending over backwards for people to make this deal happen. I would shrink who I really was to cater to someone, to be likable, if you would, right?
So yeah, I get what you're saying.
Yeah, I would just shrink to their size so that I can, communicate with them or tell them what they wanted to hear in order for me to get the deal.
Yeah.
in the business world. And obviously how you do something is how you do everything. So I think that I was even doing that definitely for sure. One of the biggest tests for men with women. I was doing that in that department as well, for sure.
Just like telling them what they want so that you get what you want, even if it doesn't, even you're just bullshitting. Like you don't believe what you're saying. You're saying it to get something from the person.
Exactly.
Dang. Yeah. Yeah. You know, yeah. And I know like for myself, because I keep evolving, uh, and I get more real, that means that in the past I was less real. As I gain, because as I mature or develop or whatever in my communication, in my philosophy, in my level of integratedness. I know I could say integration, but integratedness makes more sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Then I feel more deeply my conviction, my realness, my certainty, my authenticity. Like each word matters more as I develop more, which means in the past it didn't matter as much. I wasn't as authentic. I was worse in the past. And so I know that this is not the final level. I'm not on top level right now. Next year I'll be better. And I'll look back and be like, I was not as authentic as I am now. And, 10 years from now, I'll be hella more authentic. And I don't know. I mean, maybe I could be there right now in a quantum moment, but even then, I think there'll be another level. Like there'll always be a bigger level. So yeah, I think, we all built on that. And, so this is a more current realization for you. I was checking in with you, like, how's your Wednesday going? And you went into this existential thing of like, I've been questioning everything. Like I wasn't integrated and I compromised myself. I was a shapeshifter, a shape-shifting salesman, until I, got to IMC. That's dope.
Yeah.
Right on.
Yeah, and the reason being for my answer, even you were asking about how's my Wednesday going, is like, man, I literally are shattering my entire reality. Like time is an illusion. Time is a fucking illusion. Just like a lot of things that just don't make sense to me now, and this so-called reality, like this success, this glorified success that people give me for being successful in business. I'm like, man, the fact that I'm here having this conversation with a PhD, that to me is already success.
Yeah, I'm curious. Something's coming up for me. Put some questions. I'm curious. Before AZD, so like you discovered AZD mid 2020 or so, and then you really since like 2021 you've been like dedicated. It's almost like the clock starts then. Before that, before 2021, did you work out regularly?
No,
No.
not at all.
Did you drink regularly?
I did.
Did you read regularly?
No.
Did you have a consistent wake up time?
Fuck no.
Okay. Dang. Did you meditate?
No.
Okay. So yeah. So take a guy that's at his 30s and successful by money standards, business standards, but didn't work out, probably didn't watch what you eat, drank a lot, woke up inconsistently, didn't meditate, didn't read, and the trajectory of that. And then I'm seeing like, so now today, did you work out?
Oh yeah.
Did you meditate?
Oh yeah.
Was it some YouTube fancy meditation, or what was it?
No, it was transcendental meditation.
Initiated transcendental meditation. Did you wake up? Did you have a wake up? It's almost you made your wake up today?
100%, baby.
Yeah, dude. And did you read a book today?
No, I did not read a book today.
Oh man, didn't want to put you on the spot like that. I was crossing my fingers. Man, I didn't. I was going down this path. Anyway, right after this podcast, Powerhouse is going to go pick up a book, and man, that makes But I'll bet many days you do. Yes or no?
100% for sure.
Okay, and I'll bet that's man. So let's see, that's since 2021. We're at middle 2023. So for 2.5 years, meditation, working out, checking what you're eating, And I mean, did you watch what you eat today? Did you do track your macros, or you just watch what you eat?
I'm watching what I'm eating.
Yeah, there you go. So conscious eating. Man,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. That's you look back and I mean, you're so much more conscious and aware than you were 2.5 years ago. Even if all the goodness and intention is there, just 2.5 years of those practices will make a person much more aware. You know, they say,
Tenfold.
yeah, dude. So that's amazing. And I know in recent times, I think you were doing Muay Thai. It was probably hard on the body, a lot of collision, and
Yeah.
especially if you don't have a background on that, so all the body tissues are not built for that. Really, it takes time. Like I have this thing I made at the original base one, where I took these iron flag poles, that little yard flags, and I tore the
Yeah.
flag off and taped them all together, so I can beat my bones with this thing. It's probably, 100 of these little iron things that I could
Mm-hmm.
make my collarbone stronger so it doesn't break, my forearm stronger. It takes time though. It takes a long time. You can't just beat on yourself and tomorrow it's hard. Tomorrow it'll hurt. You got to
Right.
tap on yourself every day for like 5 years, and then your bone is like iron. And same thing
Mm-hmm.
with all your connective tissues, Muay Thai, boxing, all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but I know you've been doing Bikram yoga, and I don't know where you're at with Muay Thai. And Bikram
Mm-hmm.
is man, that'll make your heart very strong. So,
Yeah.
what's it been like, man? Because that's intense stuff.
It definitely is, especially with what you just said now. The body is if it's not used to a practice, right? My body was not used to the Muay Thai, but as I progressively continued going, just consistently, it was all in the mindset, right? That's what we teach at IMC. It's all in the mindset. It starts here. If you can't commit yourself and gear yourself mentally, first and foremost, then that is going to dictate the action that is going to pull you forward, or it's going to either work against you. And one of the practices that we're working right now is that of God or is that of the devil? And so the devil was always working, and for so many years it worked against me. But as soon as I integrated with the AZD process and knowing that I needed a physical activity that would support me in defending myself in a real life situation, I said, hey, Muay Thai was my choice. I initially picked up jiu-jitsu. I want to be more of like AZD, someone who I greatly respect and I consider my brother as well as my teacher. So, but I figured that I didn't have to do that. I knew that I didn't have to do that. I just knew that I needed to get something. And that's what I was drawn to with Muay Thai. And picking up that martial art was, number one, the mindset, the discipline that it takes, and the amount of punishment actually, or wear and tear that I was putting in my body. It was this vicious, but it was something that I wanted for myself. So I did that for a good 3 to 4 months. I want to say consistently. I did take a break from it because the wear and tear, and like you were just explaining, my body was not used to it. I saw a lot more of the tear in my body, and I decided to switch that up and take on something that was more nourishing and healing. I'm very interested in the healing process of my body, and so Bikram has been the practice that I've been consistent with most recently, and I can already tell. You remember me telling you about my shoulder?
Mm-hmm.
I was it was bothering me a lot.
Yeah.
Well, I did do a lot of the serratus
Yeah.
exercise, the serratus, just
Yeah.
kind of lift my elbow when I'm laying on the floor. That helped out some, but
Right.
obviously, and I needed more. And so the simulation that's going into by doing the stretching of every muscle in my body by doing Bikram, my goodness, in 16 sessions, I can already see the tremendous benefit of the experience of my shoulder healing. Like I literally feel my shoulder healing. Was it Thursday and Friday of last week? It was swollen. It was like I felt the redness. I felt how swollen it was inside. And through the weekend of Saturday and Sunday that I did not do the practice, on Monday, I felt just, oh my God, I felt like the pain was almost gone. So I know that I just need to be even more consistent with it. So yes, that is the physical activity that I'm doing as part of the AZD process.
Yeah, that's intense stuff too. Has that been affecting your business or your relationships? Have you noticed? I mean, obviously, if it takes away pain in your shoulder, that's going to affect everything. Is there anything else like mentally you could say, or have you noticed, or is it just overall wellness and sleeping better and that stuff? Or have you noticed it like trickle into your relationships, communication, or whatever? Either the Muay Thai and or the Bikram.
Yeah, both. They both have created this new level of awareness and discipline, right? The level of awareness is my body being more in tune and aware of what my body is telling me, and the discipline that it takes to practice both practices. Without either one of those two, then how you do something is how you do everything. That's really one of the things that I'm inheriting and that I'm integrating myself with to be one of my beliefs and put it into practice. So how I'm doing these practices is going to translate into everything that I do. So absolutely, I'm more sharp with my schedule.
So how have you been doing these practices? What would you say is that? You're saying how you do everything, how you do one thing, how you do everything. So how you do these practices. So what is it about how you're doing these practices that, that's what I want to know.
Well, this is the one that you're going to be like, oh, well, I won't speak for you. I'll say what it's done for me. And number one, you just got to show up, right?
Yeah.
In order to get started in something, you got to just show up.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so showing up on time is number one.
There's showing up and then there's showing up on time. There's like two different things.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. So
which is really like you really show up when you show up on time or early.
Showing up on time, because that is the foundation of it's setting the tone. It's setting the tone of, oh fuck, I'm on purpose. I'm here for a reason. I have an intention. I really want this. This is good for me. That's the intention. And by me being on time, I'm solid, I'm concrete with what makes me respectable. A respectable man, keeping my word. I'm gonna be there on fucking time. Because if I'm not there on time, then who am I playing? I'm only playing myself. So don't play yourself. That's where that phrase comes from, right? Mm-hmm. And so being on time is, has been one of those things that in the past had been a big hurdle for me, or a challenge to be on time to things. I'm not saying I'm perfect today, but
so yoga and Muay Thai has changed this about you?
Yeah, because I consciously chose that I wanted to do that martial art, and to show up on time was my commitment to that martial art. Whether it would have been jiu-jitsu, boxing, whatever, I just needed to show up on time to show the level of commitment that I really had to it, because it could have been just a good idea. Like, hey, it sounds fun. I want to give it a try. Well, then that would have been short-lived because there was no power behind it. That would have been just like, oh, I'll just show up a few times, and if I make it on time, I'll make it on time. And that just kind of would have been like winging it.
Yeah. Man, you're definitely a different man than 3 years ago, even though you're only 3 years older.
Thank you. I feel like I'm 3 years old.
Yeah, a lot of guys, man, born again, a lot of guys, they 3 years of aging, I mean, they look older, they look fatter, they're worse. You're not. You're better than you were 3 years ago. So that's pretty cool. I'm sure did you just leave everybody behind that you were associated with in your life? Or are you living like kind of a double life? You're part of Fight Club but you also go back and interact with them. And do you have any friends in the outside world? Like, that whole question.
Yeah. That to me, that was my reality, the double life at first. I was learning from AZD. I was tapping in. I knew I wanted more. I knew that there was something more that I needed to be doing for myself. And so when I started tapping in with AZD and learning the teachings, the philosophies, everything that we've learned, I wasn't fully on board, and therefore I was living a double life. And I quickly found that that was just me playing myself. I was bullshitting myself. I was not only being inauthentic with who I wanted to become, right? Because I was learning from someone because I thought they had something I wanted, right? AZD had something I wanted. The masculinity, the alpha, the communication, the women, everything. I was like, that's where I want to be. So in order for me to really submerge and integrate myself into that lifestyle, I needed to stop fucking around, leave that other life behind, and just what I learned as I continued my learning through the teachings of AZD is that I needed to kill that version of myself. If I really wanted this new version of me, I needed to kill the old version of me.
When did this happen? When did this transition happen for you?
Man, I want to say a year into studying AZD.
So about a year and a half ago.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah. For a full year, I was, still married, had a child I was fighting just to see him, to spend time with him. I had a business where tattoos were, oh God, like they're taboo in the industry, or just wearing a good look. At least that's what I thought, right? That was the story I was telling myself. Fuck, what if I do get tattoos, and how am I going to be viewed and perceived by my clients or people that I want to do business with? I mean, mind you, I'm dealing with white collar individuals, PhDs, and business owners, and we even said it in one of our teachings. The best resume is how you look, right? And so that was the whole thing, the whole storyline or the thought process of living the double life. So like I said, I quickly found out that I needed to kill that version of me, because that version of me was no longer serving me. Obviously it was this unhealthy person, drinking, unhappy, all of that. So I needed to kill that, and I needed to fully integrate myself into who I really wanted, and to recreate and create the new version of me through what? Through AZD's teachings. And so I now today, because I have evolved so much, and as we like to say, I have become red pilled. I've exited the matrix. I know what it is, and I really don't want much part of it. I know I have to participate in it to an extent, but I don't have to integrate myself to it. And unfortunately, even my loved ones, like number one, my mother, my very own mom, there's nothing I can do for her. Absolutely nothing. All you do is love her for who she is, because who she is right now is who she's going to be until the last day, until her last breath. So I'm surrendered to that. I do consider I have left her behind, because there's no relation anymore as to what I believe of and what I want for myself. She's just so lost in her own storyline and her own chaos of her mind of the past. I mean, one of the biggest things is the past for her. She lives in the past, so I can't do anything for her anymore. I've tried giving her, teachings of what I've learned from AZD, even yourself, my peers who I respect, and I feel like I'm getting information, or not good information, but just knowledge that I can apply, and I have applied to myself, and I'm giving it, I'm communicating to people that I love around me. But if they can't get it, then they just don't get it, and I can't do nothing for them. So I wanted to use my mom as a prime example of people who I have left behind figuratively, but I'm at the end of the day, she's my mom. I love her, and I will take care of her. But there's nothing I can do for her evolution.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a fact. That's great. You know, that's what it is.
Yeah.
Everybody pretty much gets left behind. And even if they miss out on a camp or 2 camps or 3 camps, they get left behind a little bit. If they miss out on 6 camps or a year or 2 years, they're gone. They miss out on a lot. They're just stuck in a whole previous universe. And then people that just never even got swept up in the wave of it, they never got interested. They never studied anything, or some, family, friends, whatever. Just it's not even their cup of tea. Like it's not what they're going to do. But that's almost a shame. And then we continue to exist on this same 3D reality. We're still on the same planet, the same Earth. You're still in Texas, I'm still here, or whatever. But mentally, we're evolving very differently. We're still very similar. It's almost like chimpanzees and us are 99% similar, but we're so very different. So mentally, yeah, I'm still so much like my parents, but it's probably a small percent, but it seems a very significant percent because my beliefs are so different. Although there are some that are so very similar. But it's definitely, at the end of the day, a separation between you're on your journey, I'm on my journey, and I'm not trying to entangle my precious life units here with your evolution. Like I got my own thing going on, and part of my evolution is, letting it be, letting you evolve, and because, and that holds so many people back. Because one of the things I was going to ask you, even though I didn't know how to articulate it, and I didn't know if it was even a good question. It was something that, when I bring these guys on, the IMC TV show hosts, because that's what I'm doing now. It's just like kind of interviewing the IMC TV show hosts, not just the officers, because some officers don't have IMC TV shows, and I don't get it, but, that'd be a whole tangent. So basically in this series, is I think literally what would I enjoy to ask? Like if we were, I don't know, I almost get a vision of like if we were on night watch or something. If you're like a military unit or on a ship or something, and we were like night watch together, keep each other up, but we're watching night shift. And it's like, what would we talk about? What would I actually ask you about? And so that's what I think about when I'm like, what would I actually ask this guy? And not for the show, not for the audience, not for the recordings or whatever, but hold on, let me plug in this phone because the Instagram Live is about to die.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, but it's all good. Here we go. There you go. You guys are saved but you're going to have to be sideways now. So turn it sideways.
The captain has saved you guys.
Yes. That's true. Okay. Hold on. Here we go.
That's not too far from the truth, Captain.
So, yeah, right. So what I'm saying is, so what I was going to ask, but I didn't know how to articulate it, was like, so I don't know if when I say this, I don't know if it's a good question. It is, I just don't know how to articulate it. So basically the question is, what is it that you think is holding all those normal guys, like IMC, let's say it's 200 strong in Midday Gospel. And from that is a pool of a few dozen guys that are ultra dedicated, it seems, to their own evolution. And in that, there's maybe half a dozen guys that are going to make it. And that's, kind of the pyramid of structure of IMC. Plus, there's hundreds of guys maybe on the fringes. They're in and out. They don't have whatever. And then there's more and more onlookers looking every day. So it's a very small minority of all the people of the planet. And I mean, we have 5.5 million views on TikTok and all the platforms, lots of views. So it's not like we've exposed ourselves to every man, but there's a lot of men that have been exposed to it that haven't come around. And why is that? What's holding them back? Because you were just saying about your parents, and I was thinking a lot of them, they still have their mommies in their head and their daddies in their head. And so they won't even allow themselves to explore taboo ideas or mind expanding ideas, especially about men and women, and then even religion in that, which, has some relationship with the parents also. And whatever, I don't even know. I don't know. So that, that was actually a question I was going to bring to you. Like, what the fuck is up with all of the guys on Earth? Like, is it just they don't want to help themselves, or
So my answer is obviously ultimately my opinion and my perspective, right? But I'm gonna say it's a lack of hardship. Lack of hardship. Why? Because pain is one of the biggest teachers, or the best teacher, one of the best teachers. Through pain, we learn that, fuck, this shit ain't easy. Because if everything was easy, then everybody would be doing it. And that pain that we experience as we experience pain or hardship, it's either going, you realize that it's for the moment. You're experiencing an experience of discomfort. You're experiencing an experience that you don't really want to experience per se. And you're like, fuck, why am I feeling this way? Or why am I experiencing this feeling of hate, this feeling of lack, this feeling of heartbreak, the common ones. And so this lack of hardship, I think just creates weak men. And then I read this also, is like good times, during good times, the economy is good and everything's just kind of rolling along the way and everybody becomes comfortable, which is why we sleep on the floor, which is why we take cold showers. That's why we choose in IMC to what? Get out of that comfort, because comfort creates weakness. And so with the brothers that choose to not or emphasize or prioritize their own evolution, is that, I believe, is the lack of hardship. Because like you said,
when you say brothers, are you talking about the guys in IMC that don't push to be better? Because I was asking about the guys that don't even join IMC, that see it. And what's up with them? What's up with the men of Earth is what I'm asking.
Oh, men of Earth.
Why are they not so captivated and so interested in the same stuff that we're so captivated and interested in? If we've got our thumb on the pulse of masculinity, alpha behavior, the mindset that creates the great relationships and a very fulfilling kind of lifestyle, and what are they not getting? Or what is it, in your opinion? That's why I said I didn't know if it was a great question, but it was something that I would genuinely, I was thinking maybe you have some insight.
The answer is still sort of the same, with addition to this. They're just they haven't been around enough, and this may be a little interesting for the audience or for anybody to even talk to, right? But they haven't lived enough lifetimes to understand, and for their soul, their DNA, the cells of their body to register of what we talk about as truth, right? Their mind we're trying to awaken their mind, the machine. We're trying to help them through communication, which is why we practice communication. We want to give them the technology of communication so that they awaken. And so their souls are not registering what we're saying as true to them based on the experience or lack of experience that they've had on Earth as of wherever they are at that moment in time. But if they had more hardship, that's going to be like, fuck, well, this and that, but there's got to be something more in life. I mean, that's what happened to me, and I'm sure that's what happens to a lot of us. We're in the search of wanting more, or the knowingness for us at IMC. We have this knowingness that we just know that there's something more to us, that there's a higher purpose to what we are looking to create, which is why IMC Nation exists. But these men who have no purpose, no sense of direction. They're just, born in the matrix, and they're told what to do, when to do it by the program that they're giving by their parents and so forth and so forth, generations. That's what we've been handed down for forever. And so they only know what they know. And therefore, that's what's wrong with these men of these generations. They're weak. They are weak because the leaders of this world, quote unquote, or what we are being given as far as the information that we're being given, it's not strong. I have the strong belief that if we have the proper education of teaching meditation in schools, what would that do for kids learning meditation as early as kindergarten, elementary? middle school, high school, making it a discipline, a routine, right? To meditate and to do calisthenics or whatever choice of a physical activity that we can do. Today it's called an election. Oh, yeah, this is an election. You can choose to play sports or not. I mean, it's okay as long as you participate. No, what do we actually instilled the participation, but to actually win? Fuck your participation. You have to go in there and want to get it. You got to want to win. And so this programming that we're being given today in today's society, particularly again the men, we're just creating weak men. And that's what's wrong with why these men are not seeking more. But that's because they just don't know. And they probably haven't lived enough lifetimes for it to hit home as hard as it hits us. The IMC men that are integrated into IMC is because we've been around. This is not our first rodeo. We've lived a few lifetimes where, like, why do you get what we're talking about? Why is it that you understand what I'm saying? And somebody who's on this live right now is like, what the fuck are these lunatics are talking about? Lifetimes? What is that? You know what I'm saying? So it just doesn't register to them because they haven't been around. And the only way that they're going to gain enough experience is through hardship. I promise you, hardship is the best teacher. The more pain you experience, and the willingness to want to overcome that pain, which is another part of that equation, is what's going to essentially create that evolution and that desire to want to know more, to know that there is more. And therefore we're speaking, well, speaking to our kind, we're talking to our people. And whoever's listening is going to gravitate towards this because this technology is designed that way, right? To reach those people who are ready, those people who are looking. Other than that, men who are out there thinking like Andrew Tate, I got 10 cars, I can get all the women I want. Yeah, he has the right idea about the red pill and the matrix and this and that, but he's still a simp because his value to him is his money, his cars, the clothes he's wearing. And that's where we separate ourselves from his kind, and we have our kind.
Sure, that was dope. There's the reason why I asked the question, because I must have intuitively known that it was going to be such a stellar answer. I was even thinking I want Josiah to clip that out. Josiah, you've never hit me up about that. I know Josiah takes clips out of a lot of the guys' IMC TV shows. He never asked me if I wanted it. I want it too, especially what Powerhouse just said was longer than 60 seconds. So I don't know if that can somehow be made into 60 seconds, but that'd be great as a YouTube short. Okay. Are there any questions from the audience? We'll be wrapping it up. We've been going a while, and that was, great. I almost don't even want to ask for anything after that, because I was not expecting that. I was not expecting Powerhouse to go right into lifetimes. This is a business owner. This is just what's the business? You want to shout out, give yourself what's the name of the original business that you started, or what do you do? What were you known for before you joined IMC?
Yeah, insurance services.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And was that your own company, or you were part of a network, or what was that?
No, definitely. I started off as a network. I became a mentee, then I became the mentor. And so I grew in that industry. I started literally from the bottom, grunt work. And
Mm-hmm.
I learned, wanting to learn more about the industry. I knew it was a lucrative industry. Mm-hmm. I had the burning desire, that willingness, that resilience to want to learn more. And I created something out of that opportunity. Everything's an opportunity. I capitalized on it.
For sure. And yeah, now you're expanded into all these other IMC businesses, and these guys are hustlers and they want to make it, and that's going to come to fruition. As I'm now exploring that also with AZD and other avenues with other IMC guys, just want to work with IMC guys. That's what you're doing. So it's an exciting adventure. We're embarking on a new era that's about to happen with the messengers, the resurgence of the messengers training. And so that's going to be just another level. That's going to be really good, really deep, really rich, change everything. Everybody's going to notice a change.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So thank you, Senor Powerhouse Cervantes, for joining me for the stream today. And anybody in Los Angeles area, you can get a hold of Powerhouse, will be linked in the description. IMC Base 3 has the whole Telegram group. There's a lot of guys. LA has the highest concentration of IMC Nation members in person live there. And California, of course, overall is a state, and then the United States has the most, and then, on and on. And so thanks for the live audience for participating and showing up, and everybody, share and subscribe if you're catching this on YouTube, and I'll see you guys on the next Enlightened Masculinity. Is there anything that you want to pitch? I mean, Powerhouse, dude, we didn't even talk about the party that you have coming up this weekend and any future projects. I mean, is there anything you want to shout out, like as far as what's coming up, for the guys?
Well, for IMC guys who are listening right now, definitely, I mean, I have very little words. I mean, you guys are in, you guys know what IMC is about. You know the value that you are getting. If you really know the value that you're getting, you're going to show up. If you're not showing up, then there goes that, have you had enough hardship? Maybe you are in the hardship and you're trying to figure that out. And so therefore, somehow you're going to eventually make it happen. Whatever path or wherever you are in your journey, it just is. And this is why I love the fact that we talk about organic growth, and there's nothing better than that. So, not to take away from you or talk down on you if you're not making it, but damn, fucking make it, because the value that there is in the technology and what it creates by being united as brothers who understand what we talk about as far as this technology. For anybody else out there in the normie world, the regular audience, people that are not IMC, if this somehow piqued your interest or somehow spoke to you some sort of truth, you want to know more. You want to know more. And I'm not trying to convince you of anything, because only you know where you are also in your path of the journey. And if there's more for you out there, you just don't know how to get it. All I ever needed was some guidance, some mentorship, and I already got it in me. We all have it in us. That's the thing. God is within us. And so if you want it, just reach out to myself or Yogi Chris, Captain Yogi Chris of IMC Nation, and we'll put you on.
Hell yeah. Thank you, brother. And I'll see you soon this weekend in a couple of days, actually.
Absolutely.
Everybody go to imcbase1.com to check out the happenings with IMC Nation.